Hi guys, in this lesson 5 I want to show you guys another rule. What do you think will be the outcome of this code? I've got a main class here. I've got private static void m, and it throws an SQL. I'm declaring that it throws an SQL exception. Yeah, in the try catch, I'm throwing an SQL exception, and I'm catching the superclass of that exception. But then, I'm throwing that exception again. I'm throwing that reference variable again. So I'm throwing it, and I've got a try. Because I've got a throws SQL exception, I've got it in a try catch here. So I've got the call to that method. A person should never call your method so simple as m, but I'm just using it as an example here. And then I'm catching the SQL exception. So I'm declaring that it throws an SQL exception here, and I'm catching it here, which is fine. And it eventually print. If I run this, as you guys can see already over there, it's actually working. Okay, my question is, but here I'm catching a type exception. So this here is of type exception, yet I'm declaring over here that I'm throwing an SQL exception. Why is this not giving me a compile time error over here? And that's what we're going to look at. Okay, so in actual fact, before Java 7, this was not legal. So if we had to compile this with a Java 6 version compiler and so on, it will give us an error here. And just to show you, I've got some command line commands here. So I've opened the terminal here, and just to show you, so if I take the command line java c -help, you can see the different options for your command line. As you can see here, you can see them all. There's a lot of them, but I'm just going to discuss these quickly here. And the same with java -help. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to move my directory, my project directory, and the source. Now I'm currently in the project directory source here. As you can see, I could have gone back. You see, that's my project there, directory, and then I'm just moving to the source. I'm going to say source src, and there I am now in the source directory. So if I say dir in Windows or ls in Unix, you'll see there I've got my different packages, and we are going to work with package Lesson5. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to compile it, say with a Java 6 compiler, and it's javac to compile -source tells me, then I put 1.6, which is the Java 6 or 1.6 compiler. Then I'm going to tell it where the -d is actually means directory where I want to compile it to, and I want it to go to the parent because I'm in the source, and this is relative path, so I want to go to the parent. So I want to go to exception, and under exception the bin directory, because I'm using Eclipse and that's how they put it. So I want to put it, the compile class, in the bin directory, and obviously it is the package Lesson5 in the name. So I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it over here like that, and I'm going to run it, and you can see it's actually reporting an error. It's telling me must be caught or declared. So with Java 6 compiler, it doesn't compile. It's telling me this is throwing an error, a compiler error, because it says here unreported exception must be caught or declared. So before Java 6 I would have to say exception here. Okay, if I try this now with Java 7 compiler, remember I said that this was introduced in Java 7, and if I try and compile it with Java 7, it just gives me a warning, but it's fine, it compiles. So if I have to run it, Java, then I'm going to run it with, I have to tell it in which class, where's my class path, because I'm lying under the source. So I'm going to say relative again, and it's in my bin class, and I'm going to say lesson 5, the full path name, the full dingus name, and you see there it's compiling fine. So as you can see, this was introduced in Java 7, where you can declare it, you can catch the superclass and then throw the superclass's reference variable again, and it will know the actual type is actually SQL and not exception, and it doesn't throw an error from 7 onwards. Another thing I can show you, if you don't want to use the compile lines in the terminal, I could do this on the console as well. I'd have to go to my, one way of doing it is go to my exceptions, go to my project exceptions, and then I'm going to go to my properties, and here by compiler I'm going to say, I'm going to take that off, I'm going to say I want to compile it with Java 6, in other words the compiler level Java 6, and if I apply that, and I'm going to say yes, I want to build it again, and you see straight away it gives me an unhandled exception here because it's Java 6. But if I had to go and change it to my properties again, let me just go to, I am on the right one there, properties, and I change it to Java 7 and apply it, and there it's gone. Okay, I'm just going to set it back to the actual compiler that I've got it set to, which is Java 11, and that's fine. So yes, so that's just another rule. There was or facility, whatever you want to call it, that I wanted to explain to you guys from Java 7. This is legal, before that it wasn't. Okay, now that we looked at this, what will happen if I say over here I add this line? So as you can see already, but anyway, what you see, I add here e equals to, so I reassign an exception of type exception, I reassign this variable of type exception to a new SQL exception or any other exception, but in this case I'm assigning it to a new SQL exception, not the same one that was thrown. So this creates a new object of type SQL new object SQL exception of type exception. Okay, so what happens in this case is, you can see the rule no longer applies. Yeah, I'm getting an error, unhandled exception of type exception. So I would have to handle this exception. I would have to change this here probably to exception. Now it seems to be working fine because I'm throwing an exception there, but now I'm getting an error over here, so I'd have to change my code here as well to correct this. Okay, so what's happening here is that this rule that was added in Java 7 only applies when you throw it in the try catch, because then this block of code knows for sure, even though we're catching an exception, it's super class, it knows for sure that the exception that's being that's caught here and being thrown is an SQL exception, and that's why it would work. But as soon as you reassign it, even if you're reassigning it to a new SQL exception, it could be something else, the compiler this rule no longer applies, because it can't say for certain that it is an SQL exception. Thank you for watching this lesson. I hope you got something worthwhile from this lesson. Please send me your comments in the comment section of YouTube. You can also access this channel's Facebook page by searching at PCPW João from your Facebook application or page. Please don't forget to like this video, press the notify button, and subscribe to my channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you at the next video tutorial.